Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Cosmic Coven.
Shadow
Today we're going to
magic.
get into shadow work and shadow magic. And what is it? What is your shadow self? What is projection? What are your correspondences? How can you do shadow work? And all the fun stuff in
All
between.
you need to know.
So that is Lillian of the Panicking Witch.
And that's Mercy of the Ripe Avocado Witch.
And come with us on a journey
Wow.
into
the
the
shadow.
shadow. Woo! Quick little disclaimer first. We are not psychologists.
That might be shocking to hear. No, boy,
We have
howdy,
no
we are
degrees in
not.
psychology.
Nope, not a one.
And we are going to give some advice today. You do not have to take it. You can leave all of it. Just take what resonates with you, leave the rest. And always seek professional help from a therapist, someone who actually does have a degree.
Yes. Therapy and shadow work go hand in hand.
Yes, we just have a lot of practice with this, so that's what we're bringing to you today is just any advice from regular people about the shadow.
So it's not so scary.
So it's not scary because you can do it without having a degree.
Yeah.
Well.
So, as with any kind of ritual you're doing, it is good to open with a cleansing. You can do incense like we're burning here. That's a frankincense one, which would be great for shadow work stuff. You can do sound cleansing, water cleansing, any kind of cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it for shadow work before and after, because it can get pretty heavy.
Yes.
What is the shadow? Glad you asked. The shadow encompasses everything that we either can't see in ourselves, don't want to see, or aren't ready to see about ourselves. It works with the unconscious mind to move it forward into the conscious mind so you can better understand it, and it's not as scary, and you can unlock some things about yourself that you didn't know, or again, you were blocking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The term shadow self was coined by psychologist Carl Jung.
That old guy.
And it just refers to our darker traits, the stuff that we do push down, like our anger and our jealousy, stuff we don't want to associate with ourselves. It's usually formed during childhood when everyone tells us when we've done something wrong, when we've done a negative behavior, action, said something that we shouldn't have.
Ripe ages for trauma.
Ripe age for trauma.
Everything you're doing is wrong, you're an idiot.
And so that's when the shadow's formed, when you feel like an idiot. And it's basically an ego defense mechanism. It's we repress the shadow in the unconscious, we deny its existence in ourselves, and then we project it onto others.
Classic. All healthy stuff, all useful.
And we all do it. So it's not like anyone exists without the shadow self. Everyone has to kind of deal with it once the perfect time is once you're into adulthood and you start realizing that maybe you're exhibiting some behaviors that you don't like, or in terms of projection, you're seeing a lot of things in other people that you dislike. So projection is the best way to see our shadow, in my opinion, because these are the qualities we've denied ourselves, and we end up beginning to see them in other people. So oftentimes I'll look at if someone does something that elicits a really negative reaction from me, I tend to look at it and think, how am I displaying this exact same behavior? How do I elicit this? How do I bring this out into the world as well?
Sometimes it's easier to see it in other people before you could see it in yourself.
Absolutely. So a good example of projection is, let's say a little boy grows up being told from his father that he always has to be a man and exhibit manly traits. And this boy wants to either paint their nails or wear a dress because who fucking cares? And the father scolds him for displaying anything feminine, even crying, stuff like that. Like, we know how dads can get.
How dare you show emotion in this household?
How dare you? So that boy might grow up to then see, now he's super strong and only displays manly traits, but hates when he sees other men exhibiting those feminine traits and feminine qualities, like really hates it, which if you feel that strongly about something someone else is doing, you always have to look at yourself because we shouldn't ride our emotions. Why does it matter
to you?
Yeah.
With someone you've especially if it's someone on the street, you're never going to deal with them, you're never going to see them again.
Right. So maybe they're harboring something within themselves against that behavior, that trait. It is an inner state of self-division. We've divided like the conscious from the subconscious mind. We're making the unconscious conscious, taking responsibility for our actions, for our shadow self, so that we no longer project them onto the world around us. And doing the shadow work just makes you a better person and better for your community, more...
Clears you out.
Yeah. Gets rid of... That way you can deal with those traumas in a healthy way, and you don't project them onto the world and let them disrupt your life, because it can be easy to let this stuff disrupt you in certain ways.
It can help you in so many ways. Like we were saying, it simply helps you heal and let go of these negative, toxic things instead of just keeping it in, letting it build, getting worse and worse. So dealing with shadow self, shadow work, it can unlock repressed memories, traumas that have caused you pain that you haven't yet been able to work through. It'll help you understand the root of these feelings that you're having, so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. You can really pinpoint what this is, where this is coming from, how can I get rid of it. And if you work with your shadow self, it'll help you respect not only yourself, which is hugely important, but also it'll help you respect other people around you more. It'll help you see yourself fully. It'll help you love and accept yourself, trust your instincts, because you know where everything's coming from now. And you'll be easier on other people, especially the ones that used to trigger some negative emotions in you, because you can see like, okay, I wonder where it's coming from in them, you know?
Exactly. That's a great point to make. It just makes you a little more tolerant of everyone else's behavior as well.
Yes.
And more compassionate.
Yes. Definitely. It's so important. Because you don't want to just go around hating everyone.
No.
All that negative energy, you're just building it. And then once you leave, once that person leaves, it's going to come back at you, that negativity, because you've called forward negative energy. Yeah. So, and it'll just help you gain confidence in yourself. It can awaken creativity. You can let go of things that have been haunting you since childhood for years. You can finally be like, I'm 30. I am done with 13-year-old me. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I'm done with these behaviors. They no longer serve me. Yeah. Goodbye.
Yes.
I'm healed. So you'll probably notice that a lot of witches like to do shadow work. And I think that's because when you can get rid of that impending, looming shadow that's over you, you can get into a better mental state to do your magical practice.
Yeah.
And you're in a more positive state overall, in general. You're vibing higher, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's all beneficial for your spell work.
Yeah. And it helps you really see and understand what your intention is.
Yeah.
Because your intention is like one of the most important things about witchcraft. Yeah. So you can use the practice of diving into the root cause of things to figure out what exactly do I want with this spell or this magical work that I'm doing. Why do I want to do it? How's it going to benefit me and people around me? Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So there are lots of methods you can choose to do shadow work for. Yeah. So of course, any therapy. I think if you really want to dive into shadow work, you should definitely also have a therapist so that you can go through all of those issues with someone.
Yes.
Because it can be heavy.
Oh, yeah.
You might discover some things about your past that you kind of forgot about, repressed or something, and you'll need someone to talk them over with, and a therapist is going to be your best option.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're dealing with something that you can't talk about yet, don't do it alone.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many ways. Yeah. Counseling, online counseling, even a friend. Do it with someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Be responsible in your journey on your self-discovery.
Yeah.
So meditating, focusing on your subconscious mind, that's another great way to do it. My favorite is journaling. There's plenty of prompts out there, lots of journaling exercises, letters of forgiveness to yourself. I think that's like one of the best things you can do once you find something that the root cause of one of your behaviors. It tends to be something that maybe you're hurting yourself for, you berate yourself for. So a nice forgiveness letter is always good.
Every once in a while. Yeah.
You can do divination, some tarot, pendulum work, stuff like that. And any rituals like cord cutting, burning, candle spells, anything like that.
Baths.
Release all of it, cleansing.
Baths would be good. Yeah. You can soak in it, and then you can let it go after.
Absolutely.
So there are lots of correspondences, corresponding items that you can use in your magic to help align yourself more with the shadow realm. It boosts those energies. Sodalite is a huge crystal of mine that I use with shadow work because it opens up the mind, helps you understand. It brings the unconscious to the conscious mind. Rose quartz and amethyst, when any kind of heavy stuff comes up, really good for self-love, forgiveness. Labradorite, because it can open up that third eye, get into the repressed kind of stuff. Selenite, black tourmaline, black obsidian, and smoky quartz, they're all grounding, clearing, cleansing, protective energies you could ward after so you can stop any more negativity from coming in. So those are the crystals. Mm-hmm. Herbs, we got some rosemary to bring that wisdom, help you find the root causes of things. Lavender, again, is good for self-love, forgiveness. Mugwort, St. John's wort, good mental opening, unblocking herbs. Dried lemon is cleansing and clearing. Dried orange peel for some much needed positivity after the heavier stuff. Sage is a good neutralizer of wild energies too. Chili flakes can remove any kind of negative vibes. And as for when you want to do some shadow work, the fuller dark moons are probably the best times if you work by moon phases for it, because they're good to encourage releasing of old energies, big changes to improve your life, the lives of people around you. And they're just, they welcome in new, better energy for you.
And we've obviously done a lot of shadow work ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
So we come at this with experience for you. Just that's why we know how beneficial it is. It has helped me personally because I went through... We all tend to avoid a lot of the problems that we go through while we're growing up and kind of neglect that as like a part of our growth almost. Like it's like you don't want it to have any impact on you, so you pretend that it didn't.
It happened though.
But it happened, it has an impact on you, it changes how you behave, and I used shadow work to figure out what those problems were and how I was behaving in now, modern times, future mercy. And I now am more aware and cognizant of those specific behaviors. And I feel like I've become much calmer and much kinder because I'm not harboring resentments. I've forgiven everyone, myself, and just like slate has become clean.
New person,
I'm not saying I'm like cured. We all need to work. Like you could do shadow work forever, but like,
because trauma chases you all through life.
It really does. Every time I'm like, wow, I'm over it. 3 days later, what are you gonna do?
Oh man, shadow work. Yeah, for me, first of all, like it helped me see that I had anxiety disorders, that I was autistic. I went to a therapist finally when I first started magic. I was like, whoa, I got issues. Therapy. Yes, and I just dove into my whole psyche. I realized that fear was like the leading factor in my life. So I've been slowly opening that chestnut, figuring out why I'm so afraid of everything and how I can live in a nice, calmer, not so fearful state that blocks me from doing things that I enjoy and want to do.
Yeah, so it's very helpful. I hope that it can help you and bring you some clarity. And again, it's a great, even Carl Jung knew that like doing shadow work is great for your community, because if we all stop projecting our own issues onto other people, I think that'd be
huge. I've been able
golden outcome
to talk to people that I hated before and wanted nothing to do with, and I would just snap at them.
Right.
But now our relationships are so much better because you realize like all of that is not necessarily from them. It's from something going on up in the noggin up here.
Right. And they're not living in your brain. They don't know that, right?
Yeah.
And shadow work, I have found, also helps you to set great personal boundaries.
Yes.
Because they're boundaries that you might not have known you needed until you take that time, you sit down with it, and then you realize, oh, this really bugs me when this person does this. I don't want to put it all on them. I'm going to tell them that, hey, you can't talk to me like that, or we can't do this thing to get whatever it is. Set your boundaries. Shadow work really helps with that.
Yeah. In summation, it's hard work. It's tough. It brings up a lot, but it's so helpful to then just let it go and heal yourself, man, and just have a nice, calmer, more peaceful, loving life.
Yeah. I recommend, if you're looking to do shadow work journaling, or if you're looking to do like extended amounts of shadow work, that you follow it with a gratitude routine.
Yes.
So you get your shadow work done, and then you do some gratitude to remind yourself of all the good things that you do have, because it can be quite dark. And if you want to learn a bit more about the shadow self, and you're really into like that, the psychological aspect of it, definitely read more about Carl Jung, get into shadow self, persona, anima, animus, and ego, all of that. And that can really help you.
The ego.
Yeah, that can really help you see yourself as like a segmented creature, so that you can kind of take a step outside of yourself, learn the just very human behaviors and archetypes and traits that we all have. And it can help you really focus and get clarity on your personal overall self.
Yes.
And if you need some help with journaling, I do have a couple of journals that you can check out. So these are both on Etsy and Amazon. There's a 30-day shadow work program. I really love this one because it forces you to sit down for 30 straight days to do the heavy lifting. And that way you can kind of one and done it. Like, again, shadow work can be forever, so you don't have to like just stop when you think you're done. But it's a great way to like get everything out in the open, and then like maybe bring it to your therapist and be like, hey, here's the bunch of things I learned. Yeah. And then there's also Shadow Work Pendulum Journal, which is just a way to kind of bring divination into it. And it's a way to talk to your subconscious mind via the pendulum answering for you, using those subconscious little movements that we have. I also have the Shadow Work Tarot Spread Journal, if you're looking to, again, bring some divination into it and use tarot to help you out a little bit.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming on this shadowy, dark, but helpful journey with us.
I hope it helped.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. At the end of the day, just heal yourself, man.
Yeah. Best thing you can do for yourself and the world.
Yeah. That over there is Mercy of the Ripe Avocado Witch.
And that was Lillian of the Panicking Witch.
And you, bless up.
Bless up.